Ciao. We're going to talk about AESOP.
I just say the strong song, folding like my knees and I can't go somewhere.
AESOP was a man who was enslaved, who wrote comedical stories with many of them having a lesson or moral at the end of the story. But AESOP was probably just a story himself. The reality is, AESOP was probably many men. Over many years, many enslaved individuals wrote down stories going under the name AESOP, and these stories have stuck with us for centuries. The story goes as he is born 620 BC as a slave on a Greek island, or depending on where you hear the story, sometimes Ethiopia. He was owned by many royals, and some of them even took a liking to his storytelling capabilities. His stories were very popular in the medieval ages because of their morals and ethical values. The essential quality of a fable is the delivery of a moral. For example, in the fable, The Miller, His Son, and Their Ass, the moral can be interpreted as that in trying to please all, he had pleased none. I'm going to read some of Aesop's fables, but I'm going to make it so my generation can understand it. And y'all know Aesop, the boy who cried wolf. Don't count your chickens before that. Don't count your eggs before your chickens. A wolf in sheep's clothing is a fire. Honesty is the best policy. Here's the first story, and my personal favorite story by Aesop. And this isn't actually how it goes, but I'm rephrasing it so y'all can understand. A crow was sitting on a branch with a piece of cheese in her beak, when a fox peeped the crow and her delectable cheddar. He set his wits to hit a lick on the crow. He approached the tree and looked up at the crow. "What a fine-ass bird you are, babe. If only your voice was as beautiful as your looks." The crow was flattered and wanted to prove to the fox that her voice was more than her looks. She gave a loud and down came the cheese from her beak. The fox munched that shit up. And he said, "You have a voice, shawty, but you do not have the wits." That was my favorite one. That's my favorite one I've read. I'm low-key gonna be honest. I don't know why. Just about something about a bird, some cheese, and a fox. Just calls to me. The moral for that one can just be interpreted as be careful who you trust, or don't believe in flattery type deal. This next story is the origin of a very popular saying, "Don't believe the boy who cried wolf," or something. So here's the story. I forgot to make the light whatever color it was. I think it was this one. A young boy was chilling with his sheep when he thought it would be funny to troll the villagers of his town. He cried, "Wolf, wolf," and all the villagers came to help. He laughed at them for falling for his prank, and they all left very pressed. A while passed, and the wolf pulled up on the boy's block, and he ate his sheep. When the boy cried for help, no one came. Moral of the story, don't be a cap artist. Don't be capping. Don't lie. That's the moral. Many of these stories have stuck with us for thousands of years, quite literally. And as humans, we have just found ways to put these stories into real life situations, and we found ways that we can relate to them. It's like humans all have a shared experience as being human or something. Here's the last very popular story called The Milkmaid and Her Pail. A milkmaid was walking home with a pail of milk on her head. She walked confidently and said, "With this milk, I will make cream, and then butter, and then sell the cream and butter to make money, and then buy eggs for a bougie poultry farm, and then all the men will come to my poultry farm to make love." And then the milk fell off her head. So the moral of the story is, don't count your chickens before you have the eggs. You've heard that one before. That was Aesop and his fables. Outro music.
Lately I've been seasick. Yeah, Fairport Harbor 216. Riding around for shit's sake.